a warm welcome to Power News, your window to the power sector. I'm Juhi Rajput. In this episode, we're bringing an exclusive coverage on Andhra Pradesh Power Conclave. The state of Andhra Pradesh has witnessed several reform measures in various sectors of economy, and Chandrababu Naidu government has drawn up ambitious plans to transform Andhra Pradesh into a bustling state and place it among the top 3 states in the country by 2022. State government wants to capitalize on the big opportunity of developing power sector in the state, particularly renewable energy sector.
Already I insisted my people use technology in a big way, and also you have to reduce the losses, technical losses or commercial losses. As on today, I am very happy. Andhra Pradesh is the second best state in India after Kerala, 12.9%. Within a couple of months, I want to achieve single digit. And ultimately, my aim is, number one, at far developed countries, either America or Japan, how they are operating this utility, I want to operate. That is our main concern. There, our aim is not only giving qualitative power, quality power, and at the same time, renewable energy also is important. Just now I have seen Silicon Valley, they are planning 50% renewable energy. I told my people, not immediately, at least the day will come we have to compete with Silicon Valley in knowledge-wise, technology-wise, and also energy-wise.
Andhra Pradesh Power Conclave was organized to discuss state government's mission of providing 24/7 reliable and quality power at affordable rate to the people, issues and challenges in achieving this goal and bringing electricity reform in the state.
Well, as all of you know, AP was one of the state, the combined AP. It was one of the state in launching the power sector reforms under the leadership of the visionary Chief Minister Shri Nara Chandrababu Naidu Garu. So we had launched these reforms in 1998, and then till 2004, we were ranked as number 1 in the country. CRISIL gave us the ranking. We had one of the lowest AT&C losses in the country, and we were able to meet the power supply. Situation was all right, but subsequently during last 2-3 years, particularly because of various reasons, primarily because of non-availability of gas, then issues on coal supply, lack of transmission corridor between new grid and southern grid. So we slipped somehow, and we could not keep pace with the power sector, what was achieved in other states, particularly states like Gujarat, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, even West Bengal. They have overtaken us, and we slipped to 31st position as far as the power supply was concerned. But again, since last 6 months, efforts have been made to, bring back the state on the, tracks. And one of the good news is that Government of India is introducing 24/7 scheme, 24/7 power supply scheme in all the states. And to begin with, as a pilot, they have selected 3 states in the country, in which Andhra Pradesh is one of them. We had gone for a financial restructuring plan, and then we are sticking to the target. Whatever government had, promised the subsidies, government is giving it on time. And then, of course, we have to see that the financial sector, because the cost of service is increasing. So we have to take steps to reduce the gap between the ACS and ARR, so which can be done through some tariff revisions from time to time, based on the approval of the Regulatory Commission, through efficiency gains, AT&C loss reduction, and the energy efficiency, wherein we can bring down our peak power, cost of power purchase can be reduced. So if all these steps, I think definitely we can go for a day wherein already our tariffs are concerned in Andhra Pradesh. We are one of the most competitive states. We are compiling idea of the Chief Minister is that we should have the best of the power supply and the most affordable price, which I think is possible from 2016 onwards, because as of now, our biggest constraint is fuel supply. Here, of course, Mr. Shankaran has been there. Mr. Shankar is here. He has headed the coal committee. He knows better than all of us what are the challenges in the coal sector. So I think the areas of challenges would be primarily because of the coal supply. Linkages are there, but the Coal India gives only 60% of 75%, which affects to only 45% of the coal. The balance we need to import, and import of coal obviously comes at a cost. And then gas, of course, everybody is aware of the gas-based projects. More than 7,000 megawatt capacity is lying idle in our state. In fact, there was no need of this conclave if gas was available in sufficient quantity. I mean, we would have already achieved 24/7 long back, and not only Andhra Pradesh, entire southern states would have achieved 24/7 if gas, as promised, at the rate what it was promised, was made available at $4.2. If the gas would have been available, what promised by the company, I think there would not have been any shortages. But then we have to live with the difficulties what are there and whatever are the challenges. So I think fuel is definitely going to be a challenge. So to overcome that, we need to focus increasingly on renewable energy, wherein we need not depend upon X, Y, or Z company to give us coal or gas. So renewable energy is the hands of the nature, and we have abundant nature with us. So our challenge is not only to ensure 24/7, challenge is to ensure that we are able to give at an affordable price. And with sharing of ideas amongst the industrialists, among the consumers, utilities, experts like Mr. Shankar and all, I am sure that soon we'll be able to convert Andhra Pradesh into a generator-free and an inverter-free state.
Inaugural ceremony was followed by roundtable sessions participated by policymakers and industry leaders on generation, transmission, distribution and renewable sector related issues. Distribution sector is the weakest link in Indian power business chain. In rural areas, power supply is poor and distribution system is weak and inefficient. Government of India has introduced rural franchisee scheme, but satisfactory results are yet to be seen. Collection of areas is another major concern for DISCOMs.
That the entire distribution at the village level, the last mile distribution as I call it, must be in the hands of the people. Franchisees have become labor suppliers and not taking any responsibility. They should take responsibility. The final thing is that the collection of arrears is most important. The simple thing is that in electricity, there should not be any balance from the consumer. It's a simple thing all over. Utilities just cut off supplies if you don't. And we should cut off supplies.
Our all panchayats, they owe us almost 800 crores. And then now if the Gram Panchayats do not pay, now other day only we were asking if we have to take action to see that, the panchayats pay the money, and then of course consumers. And then yes, your last point, and perhaps the most important, the last mile distribution and the franchisee. So I think definitely we will take your expertise, and then we will definitely look into this, issue of franchisee, not only from the point of O&M, but from the point of view of ownership of the distribution network at the village level. I think all these ideas, I must thank you, sir, for giving me this.
With increasing contribution from renewable energy in grid management becomes challenging, and here gas could play a major role in balancing these variations.
In the Western world, in Europe, etc., the view is that as renewables exceeds or starts nearing about 20%, that's where things become very difficult, and grid management becomes challenging. Okay, so and even before that, let's say even from 10% to 20%, you have to take a lot of measures to start accommodating renewables in the grid. Now, that being the case, what I would recommend is that gas has a very good feature that it can ramp up and down and balance off the variations on renewables. So the point we are making is that get these gas assets which are anyway there. So that's anyway a sort of investment which has been made. How do we make best use of it? And for that, the gas pooling initiative, which even the Secretary talked about, I think it's a good move, and that has to be pursued and implemented quickly to balance the renewables.
It's time for a short break, but there is a lot more on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. In India, we have around 24,000 megawatt gas-based power plants, but only 16,000 megawatt capacity is operational, running on a PLF less than 20%. Around 8,000 megawatt of projects are stranded, and investment of more than 16,000 was on the verge of turning NPA.
We have in India around 24,150 gas-based power plants which are connected to gas grid, out of which currently 16,600 megawatts are under operation. The PLFs, if you see, 16,600 megawatt, whatever is running, right now it's hardly running at 18 to 20% PLF. That is just because of the domestic gas scenario. 83% of gas-based power plant in Andhra Pradesh is stranded just because of gas. Gas supply situation in India right now for the 16,600 megawatt, it requires 63.5 MMSCMD, which is running at 20% PLF. But what is the current supply is only 18.8 MMSCMD. And around 7,500 megawatt is ready for commissioning, and that requires 29.5 MMSCMD. So overall, the requirement itself is around 100 MMSCMD is required for gas-based power plants. Because of this gas scenario, around 1.2 lakh crores of assets, gas-based power plant assets are idle.
Under the government's bailout package, 10 power plants with over 10,000 megawatt capacity will receive imported gas supply for stranded and underutilized power plants. 29 power plants would be eligible for a higher subsidy ceiling of Rs 1.26 per unit, and 30 power plants which fall in the stranded category would be eligible for subsidy with a lower ceiling of 94 paise per unit in the current financial year. Stranded power plants would get Rs 5.50 paise per unit as net purchase price from the DISCOM.
We were looking at the ways of making this power, these plants that are created with huge investment, work instead of idling and then turning into NPAs. So the state was of the view that they were purchasing the power in the short term around 550 to 6. If this power can be made available by whatever pooling mechanism or other measures or sacrifices from the stakeholders to cost around 5 rupees 50 paisa, it works for the state. So we suggested the taxation on these LNG be waived 14-15% to brought it down to the central taxation level of around 2%. And GAIL to make certain sacrifice in terms of the transportation cost and the profit they make on the transportation. Third, the promoters and the generators who would sacrifice their return on equity to the initial years to keep the tariffs low initially. And the bankers, we did have a meeting with all the bankers, and they were willing to reduce the rate of interest to the base rate. And with this, we were able to gradually scale up the level of operation of these gas plants, starting from 20-25% to gradually 35-40% in the next 3 years, and make the power cost to be within around 5 rupees 50 paisa.
Andhra Pradesh government has decided to implement a comprehensive action plan to make the state a renewable energy hub in the next 4 years. As part of this plan, it has contemplated to achieve 5,000 megawatt solar power and 4,000 megawatt wind power by 2019 to meet the twin objectives of energy security and clean energy considerations.
Our Honorable Chief Minister, Sri Nara Chandrababu Naidu Garu, is giving a lot of support and impetus to the renewables, because everybody knew that renewable energy is the only source for ensuring energy security for coming years. Now the present scenario as of now, much impetus has given to the solar and wind. Coming to the wind, we have a potential of nearly 15,000 megawatts here, particularly in Rayalaseema region, because Rayalaseema happens to be a renewable energy hub where Anantapur, Kurnool, Chittoor and Kadapa is having a huge potential of wind and solar. Therefore, as much as possible, we are exploiting more energy, both wind and solar. Wind, we are planning to install 4,000 megawatts in coming 5 years, as the mandate that has been given by the government of Andhra Pradesh is 4,000. 10,000 megawatts with regard to the solar. There is a major solar park is coming in Anantapur, Kadapa and Kurnool. That is a world's largest solar park, having capacity of 2,500 megawatt. Land we have taken possession, And then there is evacuation transmissions plans have also been given both PGCL and Transco. There is huge development is taking place, and our secretary and our honorable CM is reviewing daily basis of the renewable energy, particularly the solar. Government of India already conveyed 4 megawatts rooftop for the offices buildings and private buildings, and which the government of India is extending 30% subsidy, and remaining must be borne by the beneficiary. Then there is a off-grid system is also there, under which the government of India sanctioned 5,800 home lighting systems, like each 1 kilowatt. 30% subsidy will be given by the government of India, that is MNRE, remaining borne by this beneficiary. This 5,800 home lighting systems will be distributed to entire 13 districts. Then second is, as mentioned about this solar, agriculture solar pump sets. We have nearly 6,000 pump sets have been sanctioned by the government of India, under which 30% will be given by the subsidy by MNRE, and remaining the government of AP have formatted a revenue model, under which 10% will be borne by the beneficiary, 20% will be discounts where they lay lines and transmission, and that amount would be factored into this, and then 30% by MNRE, and remaining 40% will go for a PFC loan, under which the loan will be given to the DISCOMs, and the DISCOMs will repay the loan, which would be factored as a subsidy amount, that is a free power given to the farmers.
Andhra Pradesh government is also establishing an energy university with focus on research orientation and development of energy efficiency, energy conservation and renewable sources. Initially, the Energy University will offer postgraduate, PhD and research application courses. It's time for another short break. We'll be right back. Keep watching Power News. Welcome back. Andhra Pradesh has also taken several measures for improving energy efficiency in agricultural and lighting sector. EESL is investing around ₹1,000 crore for implementing energy efficiency activities in Andhra Pradesh.
A 60-watt bulb is replaced by a 7-watt LED bulb, and the lumen level and the brightness and everything is much better. So we have doing this we have already completed a project in Pondicherry wherein 7.5 lakh bulbs have been distributed. Right now Guntur is going on, and roundabout again in Guntur we have distributed roundabout 7 lakh bulbs. Very soon we are going to start in Anantapur, Srikakulam and West Godavari. The basic idea of this is people have to get their incandescent bulbs by the centers opened by EESL. Like in this project itself, NetCap has been there for our project management consultancy, and I'm really glad to say that there people there are really helping ESL in distributing these bulbs with the help of the DISCOM itself, which is APSPDCL in this case. I'm glad to say that for Srikakulam and West Godavari, we have just finished up the tendering process and the price has come down to 150 rupees. So I can see that going forward very soon these LED bulbs will be available at the CFL price itself, which is the basic idea.
EESL has completed the distribution of around 3.5 million LED bulbs in the domestic sector and close to 80,000 LED street lights in Greater Visakhapatnam Municipal Corporation in Phase 1, which resulted in annual energy savings of around 300 million units.
Mr. Tayal, EESL has launched a LED program in Andhra Pradesh. This is for home lighting and street lighting, right? So which are the other areas where such initiatives could be launched?
With APEPDCL and APSPDCL, we are already have prepared a DPR for the agriculture pumps. Very soon, the energy savings agreement between APEPDCL and EESL will be signed for first phase of the project, which is for 3,600 pumps in Rajahmundry area, which is there. We will be replacing these 3,600 pumps, and in a phased manner, all the pumps in the AP state will be changed with energy efficient pumps. And we are in talks with, as sir said, that they have prepared the DPRs, energy audit for the buildings. So we are in touch with a lot of government buildings for making them energy efficient. As I took the example of Yojana Bhavan, we have replaced all their ACs, chillers, lighting, pumping system with the energy efficient system, and already from the first month itself they are saving around about 37% on their energy bill. So the same principle we have been following in the AP sector also, AP state also, and we are in talks with a lot of government buildings to make them energy efficient, which is there.
Mr. Murli, as far as wind sector is concerned, there's a huge potential available in Andhra Pradesh, approximately 15,000 megawatt. If we talk of the current capacity, it is only about 900 megawatt. If we talk of share also, then of the total wind capacity installed, AP has a share of 3% only. What is the reason behind having such a low share?
See, tariff had been the most important component, the feed-in tariff. AP was one of the first states to start with wind projects, and subsequently there was not much impetus given to wind as a segment, and it is more so to do with the tariff. Investment had been flowing to states where the policies have been much conducive. If you see Rajasthan, which is much ahead of us, the wind regimes prevailing in Rajasthan are much lower than what is prevailing in Andhra. But it had been the tariff which had been the major driver which pushed a lot of investment. So to be very frank, it is the IRRs which push people towards a state. So I think that was not very conducive and favorable, so we were unable to do. And if you see, all of a sudden from say around 3 rupee 50 paisa, there was a correction that happened where the tariff increased to 470, and that regime has seen an addition of 700 megawatt, and today AP is being looked as the most hot destination for setting up of projects. So I think going forward we should not go back and see what has happened, but I think what is kept in stock is much better.
As a solar representative, I'd like to ask, there's a huge potential of 10,000 megawatt capacity available in the state of Andhra Pradesh. So what challenges they might face in developing or harnessing the huge potential which is available in the state? And how could those challenges be addressed?
Actually, the first change, the successful change that has happened in AP, when compared to the last policy and this policy, and we are seeing the success already, 619 megawatt. Earlier, the method that was followed, okay, in terms of bidding of all the efforts, I think 3,000 plus megawatts bid for it, and then finally in AP, not less than 50 or so, I think, signed the PPA, because what was stated and what was finally resulted in signing the PPA is totally different. So nobody came forward. And this time, though they started with a similar approach, but with the intervention of the developers, I think that's where I would say AP is different today. And they have accepted all the suggestions that was given in the pre-bid meeting. And first time that we have seen that L1 to L19 was what was proposed in the pre-bid accepted, I think, very smoothly without any hassles, and we have completed the PPA signing as of yesterday. So that if that similar approach is followed in the subsequent programs, I think almost all that we have envisaged will get grounded.
The challenges before the state agencies would be to perform at par with other progressive state utilities and meet the expectation of people, serve them at their best, and bring accountability and transparency at all levels. With this, we come to an end of this edition of Power News. Keep sending us your suggestions and views. As always, we look forward to your feedback. Do join us next week for more news and updates. Till then, goodbye and take care.